Amazing. It goes live so fast now. There was like a little stall before. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this live stream. It's been a while since we've live streamed. I'm super excited to be here. My name's Kate. I'm a community manager here at Bolt. With me today is Jakob. Jakob is a designer and builder and cool person. So thank you for joining us today. Jakob has been on before, showing us some cool designs. He's going to be showing us a little bit about Bolt V2. Also with us is Alex. Alex is our chief of staff here at Bolt. If you are just joining the live stream, you may have not seen myself and Alex yet, but if you are a longtime live stream viewer, you are very familiar with us. You can't escape our faces. A few housekeeping things. We are streaming currently on YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Our chat is most active on YouTube, so head on over there if you want to see all the comments, or you can stay on your preferred viewing platform. We will record this, so this is being recorded, and it will be added to our YouTube page after this is done. So I see a lot of European folks in the chat. It's getting late over there, so if you got a dip, this will be recorded. And then another thing, be sure to throw your questions in the chat, comments. We will be answering those. We have Donald Inco in our chat. If you can say what's up, he'll be answering some questions, but we'll also be answering some questions live. There he is. Amazing. Okay. To get us started, if you haven't been watching any Bolt channel in the last week, you maybe are not familiar with what is Bolt V2. So Alex, do you want to give us a little intro into what we just launched?
Absolutely. So if you've been playing with Bolt or any of the other vibe coding tools over the last year, chances are you may have encountered a couple frustrating aspects of the tools. This is, we've been listening to our audience and thinking about how we could improve things. And really what we heard was that the number one complaint over the last year has been you're building and you get stuck in error loops. Essentially, you get into these scenarios where the project gets complicated, you're trying to set up some integration or build some complex functionality, and you just reach a state where the agent gets confused and you get stuck in error loops, and you can't figure out how to get out of it unless you are a developer, or you go and start becoming a developer and reading docs and doing a lot of manual troubleshooting. So that was kind of the number one complaint that we'd heard. The second thing was something that I've run into personally. Configuring backend can be really tricky. There's a lot of components to backend, right? That includes authentication and user management, the database to store data, file storage. If you're making an app like an Instagram or like a social media type app where users need to store files inside of your app, that can be really challenging. Payments, and really importantly, integrations, right? If you need your app to send transactional emails or make calls or send notification text or interact with AI tools like OpenAI API, Gemini API, Claude API in the background to add AI functionality to your app, setting up a lot of the backend infrastructure to make all of that work and then host that complex app was often a huge pain. And so we went back to the drawing board and we thought, how can we just take this whole tooling to a new level and really get to version 2.0 of what's possible with vibe coding tools. So over the last few months, the team has been working insanely hard. Shout out to our engineering team. You probably haven't seen a lot of them on Twitter and Reddit recently because they've been in the basement just coding nonstop. But you will be seeing a lot more of them out and about on social media and in our community over the next few months because they shipped something really amazing, and that's Bolt V2. So what did we do? We took these agents, these coding agents that have been developed in the last few months by the AI labs like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI. And we put them into Bolt's visual, easy to use browser-based interface. That was step one. Then we paired it with enterprise grade infrastructure that real companies are built on, that scale to millions of users and billions in revenue. And we put that stuff inside of Bolt directly in what we're calling Bolt Cloud. So now you have the best in the world coding agent with complete direct control over all of those backend infrastructure primitives that you need to do all that stuff we discussed, like payments integration, databases, login, etc. And it's all under one login, your Bolt login, one subscription, your Bolt Pro plan. Super simple. And that's Bolt V2. It's available for the last week. Initial reviews have been pretty awesome. I've been playing with it a lot myself. Jakob's been playing with it, and he's going to show us some of the stuff he's been doing. Just a few of the things I saw in the chat before the live stream even started. Allman here is building a bookkeeping business using it. Very cool to see. Dean also appears extremely fired up about the tool. Hell yeah. And you know, we're seeing a lot of great positive feedback like this. So really exciting. And you know, this session is going to be about giving you guys some tips and tricks from a master prompter, Jakob himself, on how you can dive in and start exploring some of these new capabilities.
Yeah, so I think I'll take over now. Yeah, today we're going to build one app live, actually. So I'm not going to present something I've created before. Unless the live demo fails, then we're going to fail back to one that works. But hopefully everything's going to work perfectly fine. So we're going to see how it starts with the prompt, how the agent thinks about the app, and how, if we have any errors, how we can fix them. And ideally, we're going to end up with a pretty cool app. So I'm going to hit present, and I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, actually.
While Jakob is pulling that up, let me answer a few other quick questions here. Richard, yes, it's live now. You'll see it in your account. Yeah, you'll have a little drop down, a little agent drop down, and you can select Claude Code, which is the first Frontier AI agent that we've loaded into the thing, and get ripping. Mike asks, does Bolt support exist? Yes, Mike, it does. But we apologize for the slow response times that some of you guys have been getting. Please be patient with our team. They're working as hard as they can to clear the backlog. We've just had a massive influx of new users with the launch here. We're doing our best to work our way back through the queue. If you've got something that is, you've got like a client deadline coming up, you're, really have a super, super urgent issue. I have a couple suggestions. One, our Discord community, very helpful. We've got some excellent moderators in there. And, this is not official support, but it is a great community of people that have a lot of tips and tricks and knowledge on how Bolt works that can help out. Secondly, if you are in like a really time sensitive situation, like I said, client deadlines, that kind of thing, please do reach out to me on Twitter and use your own judgment. Please use sparingly, but I can help escalate certain things if you got a big client deadline or the like coming up. And I am happy to help as much as I can. So, okay, Jakob, over to you.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. System permissions, as always, during live demos. But I'm back. And we're going to start with the prompt, just so you know what we're going to be building today. So we're going to try to build an AI virtual try-on app where you can upload your own picture or a picture of a person. You can upload some clothing items like a t-shirt, pants, hat, and then sort of dress that person and the items you've uploaded. We're also going to add a text field in case you want to, I don't know, dress that person in a Santa Claus suit or the formal suit with a tie, and you don't have those images ready. We will just trust the AI model we're going to use to provide that perfectly. We're going to save the generated images, and users should see only their own images. We want to make sure that AI keeps the person's face and background, so it's not regenerating the image from scratch, just change their clothes. We're going to use Bolt database. That's why we are all here, just to know what's new in V2. We're going to use the Nano Banana model that most of you are probably familiar with. We're going to use its government name just to avoid any confusion, potentially. And we're going to keep the design simple in case you want to add more features. We're just going to keep it simple so we can add them easily. So now I'm going to copy the prompt. We're going to go to Bolt. Hopefully you can see my Bolt tab now. I'm going to copy paste it. And the first tip you're going to get from me here is that I love to start my projects with the plan mode, which is here next to build now, because then we can see how agent, here Cloud Agent that's what V2 is about. So integrating Cloud Agent. And I saw a question in the chat before, if you can use the previous one, you can. But obviously for today, we're going to use the Cloud Agent here. So we're going to start with the plan function, and we're going to hit build now. So now Bolt is analyzing our prompt, seeing if it understands what we are asking Bolt to do today. And oftentimes he's going to ask us some questions about the prompt, which is amazing. If it wouldn't ask us any questions, I would actually ask Claude to ask me some questions that the answers would be helpful for Claude, for Bolt to actually create our projects perfectly. As you can see, he is going to start with some questions. We're going to scroll up to that, but you can see it's now planning the entire project based on our prompt. So our prompt was, I wouldn't say it was super specific. It was fairly specific, but now it's generating all of those steps that we can read. And now we can make sure that he actually understood our prompt properly. So I'm not going to read through all of it because it's quite long, but usually if you create a project, read through all that and make sure that all that is here makes sense in your project. So we're going to get to the questions, a few clarifying questions. Authentication, which is a great question. Should users need to create accounts? Let's say not for now, of later. Second question, clothing item upload limits should be a maximum file size. Let's say up to 5 megabytes, that should be fine. Image generation history. Should users be able to delete their previously generated images? Yeah, let's allow users to delete previous generations. We're gonna hit send. Now the agent is gonna analyze our answers, and it's gonna provide an updated plan for our project. It's not gonna be the entire plan from scratch. It's just the updated parts, so you can read that in specific sections that it's gonna upload it, and then we can implement it. And I will talk a bit more about changes in V2 and the interface and why is it so awesome as it is. So perfect. You can start implementing this plan. And this is one of my favorite parts, I think, about the new agent, because we'll see the specific steps that are going to happen in just a second. So it's thinking now, yeah. You can see all the steps that are going to be done now by Bolt, creating database, set up Bolt database, edge functions, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, upload interface, generated images gallery, and so on. So while Bolt is doing all that, we can focus on the UI right now. And if you've been using the previous version of Bolt, you'll know that it's pretty similar. There are a few differences. So before we'd have the preview and the code in the similar switcher, but now we also have the database, which we'll open in just a second. This part is similar. So when we have our preview, we can reload it, refresh it. We can open it in a separate tab. We can make it a responsive mode. So if we are building a landing page, for example, then we can make sure that it looks good on mobile, and we can also go full screen. As before, we can have a GitHub integration, and we can publish our website or the app online. If you're a fan of Inspector and Bolt V1, I was a huge fan of it and still am. Worry not, I think it was here before. Now it's here. So Visual Inspector is still here. You can click on it and select a specific part of your app or website, and then ask Bolt to fix it, change it. So imagine you'd have like a button in here. You could just select that button and say, change its color to blue, make it bigger, things like that. So instead of describing that in a chat window, you can just select the element and explain what you want to do with that. But coming back to the database over here, you'll see a lot of things. Those are going to be done by Bolt shortly. So just explaining quickly, in general, you can, as in the initial prompt, you can switch between Cloud Agent and the legacy agent. One very cool feature that was added, I think, last week, maybe 2 days ago, is the context, which you can clear. So when a part of the app is completed, so let's say you're building some other app that you're working first on the design, then you're going to work on functionalities, or the other way around. When you're done with the design, you can clear the context and move to the backend. You don't have to do it, but if you do so, it's going to be a bit quicker. You're going to save tokens because you're going to clear the previous context, so it's going to also be cheaper. So when you're ready with some part of the app, clear context, and you're good to go. We have domains in hosting, so when we're going to deploy the website, we'll be able to add a domain to it. You can switch between Bolt Cloud and Netlify, but Bolt Cloud is the default one, and in most cases, you're good with that. We have analytics, database, authentication, server functions, which are edge functions. We're going to get to them when Bolt generates our app. We have user management, file storage, knowledge. I'll show all of those when our app is ready, because right now they're going to be empty, obviously, while Bolt is still cooking our app, but it's all here. Previously, with V1, for example, you'd need to switch between tabs. So you'd go to Netlify, to Supabase. For analytics, you might go to PostHawk or any other analytics app. Now it's all in one tab, which is honestly amazing. If you've been working on apps before, trying to deploy something yourself, especially even a year ago, so before Bolt was here, if you tried to use a ChatGPT or Claude text, you could try to spin up your own app in the local host, but you just copy paste those snippets of code. It was very tiring in the long run. And right now, you can create your app already in Bolt. You have analytics, you have database, you have user authentication, stuff that you'd have to have separate services before are now just in one place in Bolt database, and it is honestly pretty amazing.
A few questions, Jakob, on some of this stuff we're talking about here from the chat. First one is, what are edge functions? That'd be great to explain from a non-dev standpoint.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to try to explain it as I'm also not a dev technically, but you're going to see one shortly. But in most cases, the edge functions or server functions, as we have them here, are to make sure that certain information that you have in your app is stored safely in the backend, so you don't send it in the browser so people cannot read it. In our case, actually, it's going to be our API key, which you shouldn't share publicly. We're going to add it to the app, and now you'll see this is perfect timing, actually, because we've asked in our prompt to use edge functions and to add Gemini API key, which will be required for the image generation, and store it as a secret. And now that our app is done, Bolt actually proactively tells us that the secret is used in the code but don't exist yet. So we have to add our API key. I have one ready over here. Just switch the tab, you haven't seen it. We're going to copy the value, which I got from the Gemini website. Basically, you can get your own very easily. We are going to create it. And then if we go here to server functions, you will see that there is a function called generate try-on. So this is sort of a middleman between the browser and the backend where we're going to run it. So the API key is stored safely in the backend. Then the browser going to sort of send a request through the edge function. It's going to get the API key, get it back, safely to the browser, but the end user won't see the API key. So you can safely use it in your project, and just thanks to the Edge function, it won't be stolen or misused afterwards. I hope that.
Did you say you were not a developer, Jakob, technically?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, according to, if you follow, let's say, Matt from Netlify, the CEO, every one of us using Bolt are now developers. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a slippery slope, because the more you learn by using these tools, the closer and closer you end up getting to having that development skill set.
Absolutely.
The way I would describe an edge function to my mom is, don't worry about an edge function. Basically, an edge function is what's going to happen behind the scenes anytime you ask Bolt to integrate with a third-party service, because of all the things Jakob said around security and connectivity. But I think for hell yeah, I think a pretty fair way to think about this, if you're completely non-technical, is just anytime you need your Bolt app to talk to some other service, whether that's an AI provider, an email provider, what have you, anything where you need to go and create an account on another service and get your API access key, that's when an edge function's gonna come in. The way I think about it visually is, it's basically like a tunnel through the internet between your application and whatever other applications you want to connect your app to. It's a secure tunnel. It's secure from your users and from outside parties, so that information can pass securely back and forth between your app and another app. I don't know if that's a great explanation, but hey, we'll try a couple ways and more people will figure it out.
Yeah, that's just, again, a very good way of putting it is, don't worry about it. Just Bolt is going to take care of it. And it's just worth knowing that it's here, that it's going to use a secret, but you don't have to worry about it at all. So we've created our app. So now we're going to see if it works. I'm going to upload an image of myself from last summer. It's not cropped really well. We can fix that later, but we're going to add 2 items. So we're going to upload random hoodie, and we're going to upload random green pants. And now we're going to try to generate our image. See if it's going to work or not. Okay, so we got an error. I knew it might be happening, and it's a live demo. So let's now copy paste the error over here and see what Bolt thinks about this one. I think I know how to solve it already, because I've tried creating this app before. But let's see what our agent is gonna come up back with.
Hey, Inco had another Donald Inco, you may know him by either, had a third explanation for this. I like this too. They're like little robot helpers that do special jobs for your app behind the scenes. It's another good way to think about it.
Yes, and now getting back to our error here. So code is using Gemini 2.0 Flash Exp, so it actually picked a wrong model, even though we used in our prompt the proper model name. The thing is that it's a pretty new model. So sometimes if there is some new development and you want to try to use it, it might take a while for the model to really believe this model exists, basically. So sometimes you have to be very explicit and tell the model, okay, trust me, this exists, call this model specifically, and trust me, we're going to get a good result. Here, I think the agent actually checked the documentation and realized that the edge function should use this model. So we'll wait for him to actually complete it, and then we should be good to go with our app. There are a few errors that can happen still, but let's go. Let's see.
Another thing I've had good luck with when you're dealing with needing to integrate with a service that's come out really recently is you can just instruct Bolt to check the latest documentation on the internet from the company you're trying to integrate with, and it'll just go out and search the docs and pull in the latest.
That's true. Yeah, we can, if you copy, okay, we have another one. This is also sometimes happening. So we're gonna just paste the error. I'm not gonna even say that it's an error. It's sending a wrong sort of type of file. Instead of getting an image, we still left with text. I think it's the reminder from the previous model. So it's gonna fix it. And this is a great thing that, we said there's no more error loops. So the error we're gonna get are sort of new errors that we can fix, and the agent can fix the errors itself. Fun fact is that I've tried this app, trying to do this app beforehand, obviously before the call. Sometimes it would one-shot it perfectly, and sometimes you'd have to troubleshoot a couple of errors. We get the second scenario, so you see that it's a live demo, and you can see how you can actually fix it yourself as well. Okay.
The app knew you were live. That's why it's giving you some trouble.
Yes, now it's always like this. If you try to print something very quickly, then the printer is always going to either run out of ink or just throw a temper tantrum, and it's not going to print. So it's always like this. Now we're going to try to generate it again. From my experience, there's roughly one more error that can happen. So we'll see if we are lucky to get the trifecta of errors, or now we're going to be good to go.
Here's interesting. Perfect. Oh, sorry. That didn't work.
Yeah, you can see we've uploaded the hoodie, the pants, and I'm now dressed in the perfect hoodie, perfect pants. It's pretty small. We can make it bigger afterwards. But you can see the important bit here, and it's not as easy as you might think sometimes, is the background, all the people, the guy on the bike, the old city of my hometown is still visible here. On the bigger picture, you could also see that I'm actually holding an iced tea, with a very specific pattern, and it's also adding all the items perfectly. And if we're going to use the text description, so we're going to try a different feature of our app. I cannot upload the item actually for some reason. I'll probably have to reload it, upload it again. There we go. Text description, put the person in a formal suit, and try to generate it again. And let's see how it works with the text description as well. See the UI over here. It's not perfect in terms of usability, especially your photo. It's getting cropped. And this is because we didn't specify that in the prompt that, let's say, I would like to have a 3-column layout, or that, or you can see I'm currently in a formal suit. Or that, I would like to have the history at the bottom, not on the right-hand side. If I wanted to have those images bigger, it's because I kept the prompt vague for this live demo. So you know that with agents, if your prompt is super specific, it's very specific, then you're gonna get perfect specific results. If you keep the prompt vague, you're gonna get different results. And one analogy I thought of is if you would ask even 100 people to draw a tic-tac-toe board with a winning combination. Out of those 100 people, you'd most likely get 50 different results of this tic-tac-toe board. If you're going to tell 100 people to create a tic-tac-toe board with a winning combination in the middle row, you're probably going to get 10 different combinations out of the 100 people. But if you're going to tell them to draw a tic-tac-toe board with X and O's in the specific positions on the board, you're going to have 100 same results. So here, if we would explain our app in a very specific wording, that the layout should be 3 columns, that the images should be bigger, that the uploaded image should keep its ratio, so this container should be flexible, we would get much better result. But if you keep it vague, that might be the result you're going to get. For this one, for example, I asked it to use a minimal design. I didn't specify it should be light mode or a dark mode. So in my experience with this specific app, it's roughly 50-50 or 60-40 if you're going to get a dark mode or a light mode. So the more specific you are, the better results you're going to get, essentially. If we have any questions, we can take, and I'm going to add a new prompt. We're going to change the UI a little bit. So a few changes to the UI.
Cool. Yeah, we got a good number of questions here. Let's see.
This one regarding Teams plan, Alex.
Yeah, stay tuned. There aren't any, V2 doesn't have any Teams plans specific changes, although it is available in Teams plans. Now that our engineering team has been released from the V2 basement, though, I would say expect significant movement on Teams plan capabilities and collaboration functionality in general over the next quarter. Yes, anonymous LinkedIn user. Thank you. There is massive appetite for adding MCP support. And I would say on that as well, stay tuned. I think you will see that one coming down the pipeline here for sure.
Cool. In the meantime, I've asked it to change the layout a little bit. So instead of having those two huge columns and only seeing stuff when you do this, we're gonna make it a 3-column layout. In the meantime, we're gonna go to what the V2 really is about. We can see a few things now happening. So we still don't have analytics because it's available when you deploy the website. We're gonna do it in a second, but the database is already here. So for generated images, you can see them. Before we'd have to go to Supabase to get it. Here you have the URLs, you have everything. If you want to edit those, you can do that as well. Authentication we're gonna add. However, there are a few very cool things here in the authentication. So right now you can do it with email and password, but here we can ask users to confirm email, which is very cool. So instead of using some bogus email addresses, you can actually force them to use real ones. Obviously, you can also work around that if you're a malicious user, but it's still a very good sort of control for that. Also prevent leaked passwords. I found this one to be very cool. So you can sort of, you're gonna give you a warning if you're gonna using easy to guess password or passwords that leaked in the past. So there's that. As we mentioned, we have edge functions or AKA server functions that you don't have to worry if you're non-technical. We have our secrets for API keys. We have user management. When we're gonna have users after we deploy the website and add authentication, we can see how many users are in our app. Again, we don't have to have a separate analytics service. We can just use everything in Bolt database. We can have file storage, in our case, for original photos, clothing items, and generated images here. Knowledge of the project. Right now we have this default prompt that is there for every project, but you can edit it, especially when you're building a bigger project. You can add certain custom instructions. So it always follows that. Let's say you don't want to use Lucid React for logos or icons. You can use some different library, for example, for that. Then we have backups. We never want to use them, but if we want to use them, we can do that. Which is also in the version history, where I'm just gonna get very quickly to that. If let's say we made this change and we actually figured, okay, the previous layout was better, we could go to version history, click here and restore this version very quickly. I like the new one better, so I'm gonna keep it. But if I wouldn't like it, I could get to previous one with just one hit of the button.
And this is a cool thing here about this version history is you don't have to, and this was actually the question by RP Media here. Can you show us where to find that again, Jakob?
Yes, sure.
What's really cool about this is you don't have to actually restore. Because we're running all this right in your browser, you can select a different version. That version is running right there in the preview. You don't have to restore it. You can check it out, see if it's what you want. Say, oh, I had it like this, now I want it like this, what have you, without even restoring. So really, it's version history, but it's also like previewability of every past version, which is really awesome. One thing to be aware of with version history right now. Donald, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I got to warn the people in case I'm right. I don't believe version history currently rolls back any changes that you've made to your database. It rolls back changes that you've made to your front end code. but it does not yet revert any database changes that you made. So keep that in mind. If just be careful with that. Database is something that developers usually are very cautious about making changes to, and rolling back is quite tricky. However, with that being said, stay tuned. We are going to add into version history where it'll revert DB changes as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah. In the meantime, in our app, we've made this image a bit bigger. I've just asked our app to make me wear a scuba diver suit. And as before, I'm still holding the iced tea properly here. Background is still untouched. This is still me. I have my shoes and my socks. So it's working quite well as it is. So now let's ask Bolt to, let's add user authentication using Bolt database, email, and password. Let's see what it comes up with. Have to say again, with the live demo, my previous app generations, I like the UI a bit more, but that's what you get when you're vague with your prompts. So if you have a specific vision in your mind, describe it to Bolt very precisely. Otherwise, you might get disappointed like I am right now a little bit. So
okay, while we wait for that turn, I got a few questions on the Supabase stuff I'm going to shoot through here. So Tiffany asks, Supabase not needed with V2. Correct. You do not need to have a separate Supabase account anymore with V2. With that being said, we also have some questions about how come Supabase integration has been removed? Good news, it has not been. The Supabase, for those of you who like using Supabase, if you go into applications, here you can see I still have my Supabase account connected, so you can still use it. How do you do so? Here's the current pathway, and I believe, let's see. So here's how you'll do it. So once you have your app set up, I set up a simple app here, just basically a Hello World app that actually stores Hello World in the database. So you set your app up. As you can see here, I've got my Bolt cloud database here. I've got my one row with Hello World in it. And if I want to connect this to my Supabase account, I just click Advanced, Claim in Supabase. And then this is going to migrate my database over to Supabase here. I don't want to expose any of my credentials, but you get the idea. If you're doing this workflow, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you are familiar with Supabase, and that'll allow you to migrate the database into your Supabase account. Additionally, oh, yeah. And Mendel, that's what we mean by claim the database. There's, again, no need to do that unless you want to continue using a Supabase account for part of your workflow, but no longer necessary. And then there's another question here from Mike. Glad to see you got your browser situation figured out and got to join the live stream. How do you connect to Supabase with the current project on V2? Depending on the order of operations, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there, but if you're looking for how do you take a Bolt V2 project and run your database on Supabase, that would be the claim flow that I just demonstrated. If you had a project already started on Bolt V1 that's already using Supabase, that will continue working. You don't have to make any changes there. So that will be the same. And then that also kind of connects into this question of existing apps. Bolt apps, existing Bolt apps are compatible with V2. I mean, really, yeah, totally. Yes. The answer is yes. Awesome. Okay. I just wanted to speed through all those Supabase related questions. Back over to you, Jakob.
Yes. Makes sense. So now we have our authentication. So at this stage, we're going to publish it for a certain reason, because I want to get back to our analytics and user management and so on. And for that, let's finally publish our project. We're going to add some more changes to it. but at the moment, let's see if we can sign up. I got my link here. We're going to share it. We're going to use, I actually have to sign up, obviously. Going to use a bogus email. Going to use a bogus password. I'm going to try to sign up. There we go. You can see, yeah, I'm signed in as a user. I'm gonna, again, do a quick generation. We should still fix the UI, but that's fine for now. Gonna add our hoodie. We're gonna add our pants, and we can generate our try-on. Okay. We got everything we can today. Gonna very quickly describe what is happening here. In the meantime, I think if we go to user management, you can see that we have a user signed up. So we have one new user today. If we're gonna go to analytics, not yet, I guess. Yeah, so if we would usually in this situation, if we would actually ask agent to add user authentication from the get-go, I think we wouldn't get this specific error that we're getting. But since we wanted to do it step by step to show the entire process, we need to do a little fix. Like we don't have to do it. The Bolt is going to do it for us. But yes, we have the updated version. We're going to publish it. So we're going to update our app. There we go. I'm gonna sign this user out. Let's add the new one. And again, let's create our image. Let's just keep the hoodie.
Brandon says that sound is giving him PTSD. Maybe we could, I love the sound, but maybe we could demonstrate in settings how you can turn that sound off for those who don't love it. I think it's, let's see, settings, all project settings, general, and sound notification. There is a toggle. I always get distracted while I'm waiting for prompts, and I like the sound, but you can turn it off.
Yeah, the sound was one feature that I really wanted to see in Bolt, and now it's there. Like if you start prompting and then you go on Twitter or do something else, the sound is sort of waking you up that you shouldn't doom scroll for 15 minutes. It's already done, so you can get back to the tab that you're working on. So for me, sound on, but obviously sometimes you want to turn it off. We'll see this one. It's a bit of a pesky bug. So if we won't get this one fixed in this iteration, we can go back to a different project I've created today with the exact same functionality. And I did the exact same steps and it works perfectly. So sometimes you need to be a bit patient. Sometimes you're going to get it in the first run. It's going to work perfectly. Sometimes you need to do 5 iterations to get there. It's not, you'd think that, with AI, if you put the exact same prompt, you're going to get the exact same results. But as I mentioned, the models are thinking in various ways. So unless you are extremely, extremely specific, there's still a lot of leeway, a lot of room for interpretation. So if you're not super precise, be a bit patient. If you are super precise, you're going to get the results you want. So that's the message I want you to get out of this demo for sure.
Let's see here. Good. This is probably a good time. We've got multiple different questions in the chat about token usage and how best to minimize usage. Jakob, thoughts on best approach there?
I think definitely going in the plan mode to make sure that you're not doing, or Bolt is not doing something you don't want Bolt to do. So you can read through the entire plan and see if all the steps that it described make sense. If they don't, stay in the plan mode, use it's not using as much tokens, obviously, as the build mode. So make sure that you get your message across and only start building when you're happy with what Paul described. And as I mentioned before, you can clear the context with this new feature. After a while, when we are done with certain bits of the app, we can clear the context, move to the next part of it, and that should also save tokens because it doesn't have to, kind of acknowledge the entire context of the app then.
Yes, and some questions on clearing context. Safer school solutions. Yeah, clearing context is the same as duplicating the app and continuing, but it's just cleaner because you don't need to duplicate the app. Jazz Earl asks, does it, the /clear function, does it clear the entire context or just the prompt memory space? Those are actually the same thing with the way these vibe coding tools work. It will clear everything out of context. Your next prompt will be just entering in with no context. But the way V2 is set up is it is trained to go in and explore the relevant files of your app and understand the context before writing code. So that's not an issue. Another thing I think I saw, this was kind of related, that Henry had asked, can we export the planning documentation from the project? By default, there isn't any planning documentation per se, but Claude loves writing planning documentation. So if you ask it, it will be very happy to write said documentation for you, which is not a bad idea to do. It's something I do before you clear context, where I'll just say, make me a readme.md file summarizing the core capabilities of the app and which files in my app are responsible for each parts of those capabilities. And any other, you can add a request for any other documentation you want. It'll add that to a README then. And that README is obviously accessible to Bolt. So then anytime you come back, and if it's appears to not be understanding something about your app, you can just ask it to reference the README, and it will, and it'll pull the relevant context back in. So that'd be my recommended approach there.
Cool. So we had a very pesky bug in this project. I'm not sure. In some of those, I did remove the API key. So if that's the case, we're going to fix it in a second. But this is the project I created before with all the sign up. And here we have a signed in user. I've actually added a free generation limit. I'm going to get back to the chat in a second. But as you can see, the UI is also a bit better because I took my time to describe it. The generated result, really nice, which we can also download. And if we will go back to the tab with this project, you will, if we go through the history, it's a bit long, but you can see it started with the prompt, exact same one we did. There was a plan summary from the agent. I also answered 3 questions as before. Then it planned the entire project for us, hit the implement. We went through the plan. It did really well. You'll see it also used a wrong model, but we fixed it as in the previous project. And then we had no more errors. You might remember in our original app, we had 2 more errors to fix it. Here it was fixed immediately. Then add the user authentication using Bolt database. It did that. As you can see here, we published the application, all worked basically perfectly. In this example, we published it again. Then I wanted to add a paywall so that users will only have 3 free generations because, as you might know, AI tokens are quite expensive. So it did that. We published it again. We published it again. We had 1 error for creating users, which I copy pasted here. And then I fixed 3 security issues, by the way, as well, because there is one very cool feature that I would forget to showcase if not for this project, which is called security audit when I go to the database. And you will see certain warnings. I had 2 warnings that I fixed. I asked the Bolt to fix, obviously. Leaked password protection disabled, I left it. But this is the bit that I mentioned over here. You can turn it on, and then you will not have this warning anymore. Here, I just want to use bogus passwords and emails, so I'm not turning it on. And in analytics, when we go here, it's loading a little bit. But you will see the visitors for this website, top locations. I'm using a VPN, that's why it says US, but it's me. What the sources are of visitors into the website. So yeah, as I mentioned, for simple analytics, you don't need to integrate it with any other tool. You can just use Bolt database, and it works really, really well. Again, for user management, you can see very creative emails I've been using for testing this app. But here again, you can see how many users you have for this specific app. And if we're gonna go back to the tab, after I've added this sort of paywall, so you might wonder if you wanna create a similar app and maybe charge people for it when you configure it really well. We have some examples. So we're gonna use this one. We're gonna create another image here. So we're gonna use our second free generation. And actually, I think I can copy paste this. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second and share the link.
Here's a relevant question we got from NovaC127. If I prompt an app into existence with Bolt, do I truly own the code? Is it exportable for me to host elsewhere? And essentially, does Bolt, hold any rights to your code? I have two answers for you. The first one is, if your app gets a lot of commercial traction, please DM me on Twitter, because yes, you actually do owe me to allow me to invest into your app. Okay. Not legally speaking, but I would appreciate the Twitter DM and the opportunity, but no, legally and technically speaking, you 100% own all of that code. One of the great things about Bolt is we're just building using JavaScript, HTML, CSS, normal coding languages, and it's real, human readable code that you can absolutely export either by pushing it to GitHub or literally by just downloading. You can go right here and just say export and download the code. But you can also use this button right here if you're like collaborating with an agency or developers or what have you, and push the code out that way, which is what developers normally do. And expand on it, keep going, iterate more in Bolt 2 if your dev team is on board with some collaboration. So yeah, absolutely. You own the code, you can do whatever you want with it.
In the meantime, in our app, we went to 3 free generations. The last one was me in a suit wearing a duck hat. And now if we're gonna add the try a Santa Claus suit, we're gonna have this pop up. So if we want to add more generations, you need to upgrade to premium. So now you could connect it with Stripe, for example, which we might need another call to do that sometime soon-ish. But for now, maybe later. But this is a way to restrict your users from sort of freeloading on a free plan. Obviously, they can sign out, create a new account, and so on, but they're going to lose the history of their generations over here. And it's just, in any app, you can create as many free trials as you want. I guess it just at some point it gets tiring. And if people love your product, I'm sure you're going to be happy to pay for it. So yeah, this is the way you can do it. You can just ask Bolt to add a paywall, select how many generations, like figure out what's the limitation here. Is it 3 generations? Is it just number of items you want to upload? Stuff like that. You can be very creative with the paywalls as well, and then use it this way.
Very cool.
So yeah, I think that's mostly that. I think people can try the link with the app if they want to generate their own creations. Now, there are no terms of service. So after this call, I'm going to revoke the API key so you can use it responsibly and when it's still active for the next few minutes. But it should work quite well for you all.
Very cool. Awesome. Appreciate the demo, Jakob, as always. We are a few minutes over here, but we do have some great questions in the chat. So I think I'm going to try to blast through a few of those real quick, but I cannot promise to get to all of them because I see people are still dropping more questions in that I'd love to answer, but we got to do another live stream here soon. Let's see. Okay, this is an easy one. If you connect a project to GitHub and then you edit it other places, will those changes get pulled into Bolt? Yes, they will. Just refresh Bolt. Latest changes will get pulled in.
I can answer the how many tokens did you spend on this app generation, if that's okay. Not many. Like I didn't track it, but it's probably less than $1 mil for this app from the beginning to the end. I think we can also share a few resources after the call. So the original prompt, the bulletproof prompt as well. So you won't run into any errors. It's going to be super specific. You can add your own API key and build your own app. But it's compared to V1, I would say it's not at all expensive because no error loops. Every error that agent can fix, it fixes already. So I would say compared to the dev development, it's obscenely cheap to create apps like that.
Recording, Jamie will be live at this exact same URL you're on the second we end the stream here in a few minutes. You can refresh or actually, you can just rewind right now, I believe, in the live stream back to the beginning, but it'll be available at the same URL. Let's see, what else do we have here? I am hungry. Can I order food from Bolt? Deliveries, please, to Scandinavia. I don't think so. We got another great feature request here. We want Bolt to just understand what I'm thinking and build it without typing. I mean, I love these feature requests. I just, look, I mean, there's
V3
V3 coming next month. No, I don't know. That one, that's tricky. I don't know if we can do either of those.
Listen, a year ago, if you would tell me that today I'm going to be able to do what I'm able to do in Bolt, in general, I would say it's impossible. If you'd show me Nano Banana creations a year ago, I would say not until 2030 at least. And a year later, we are here already. So who knows what happens in a year?
Totally. Fair point.
Totally. Let's see. Andrew Squire asks, what's the situation with Netlify? Well, last I checked, the situation over there is all good. Doing well. Netlify's chilling, Matt Billman's on Twitter. Things are good. But if you're asking how do you use Netlify and Bolt now that we have Bolt hosting in here, you just go into all project settings, domains and hosting, select your hosting provider, Netlify, and then hit publish. Did I actually click that button? Domains and hosting, Netlify. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then hit publish. So actually, and this is good. I'm going to show one other thing because I had this question come up the other day, was once I'm actually published onto whether it's Netlify or Bolt Cloud, then what? Do I still have control? And yes, you do. You can still switch it up and make your own choices there. So, okay, now let's just make sure that that actually worked. Yes. Okay. We're live on Netlify. Okay. So now if I want to switch, I can go back to domains and hosting, unpublish my project, and then go back to Bolt Cloud. There we go. Republish. Boom. So there you go. I've heard a few people asking about that recently. So that's how that works. No walled gardens here. Pick the
tech. I saw one question about the domains, which I actually forgot to mention as well. It is in V2. When you go to the database set, you can buy a domain directly in Bolt. It's as easy as it can be. You enter the URL you want to buy as a domain. It's going to check if it's available. Going to show you some options as well. Doesn't have to be .com. It can be .app, .shop. Whatever you want to do with that, and you can buy it directly in Bolt. It's, as you will see in a second, it's going to be extremely easy to do so.
There we go. I don't really think this is the best domain, so I'm not going to buy it because I'm pretty sure if I click that button, it just buys it. But yeah, that's how that works. Auto connects it for you. and then you can just manage that stuff from here. Let's see, another thing with domains. Oh man, you can go in here and connect other domains that you own. Okay, that's all I'm going to show there because I don't have the other demo stuff pulled up. But yeah, that's how that works. Okay, what else do we got here? Let's see. If you already own the domain, that's a good question. Donald, I know you said something about DNS settings. Are we at a point yet where you can use domains you already own outside? Oh, yep, here it is. Here it is. See, I didn't even know this yet because I hadn't even looked. But connect a domain you own. This is brand new, so you can. And there's some docs here that'll help you walk through that. And I'll drop this here so Kate can share the instructions with the chat. So that's exciting to see. That's like brand new, maybe this week. I hadn't even seen that myself yet, but that's awesome new feature. Okay, let's see here. What else? Anything else you saw in these starred questions, Jakob, that you wanted to touch on? Any changes to the GitHub integration? Not currently. Still works as it did. You got branching support, etc. There will be some upgrades coming there for teams and collaboration, but that is coming soon. Is there a downside to the app or performance in moving to Supabase? Nope. It's just if you want to have your own Supabase account, you can absolutely do that. Just adds a few more steps for you, but for certain people who want some of the other capabilities, absolutely does not degrade performance.
I can take two questions quickly. I'm not sure if I can highlight them, but there was a question: how do I instruct Bolt to generate an app versus a website? You just ask it. So you just tell them, I want to create a landing page or a website, or I want to create an app, and it's going to understand the request. Basically, if you want to build a mobile app, you can do it as well. Just tell Bolt to build a mobile app. So whatever you want to build, just describe it in pure words and a regular human language. And it's gonna work out. And above that, we had a question: did I need to associate a Gemini API to use the image generation? Yes, for this one, you'd need a Gemini API key to generate the images because we wanted to use specific model, the famous Nano Banana model. So we do need the API key for that.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Henry says Bolt 2.0 makes our firm look like a bigger team. Absolutely. That's one of the things we're hearing from agencies and freelancers. This stuff's getting so good. You can churn out projects very quickly as if you got a team of 10 developers and maybe you just got a couple vibe coders there. So, Jakob, that's what you're doing, right?
I think it's turning freelancers into agencies. At least it feels like one person running their sole proprietors, their agencies, and then a few people agencies. It feels like it's a huge marketing company with 100 people. How quickly you can currently do things in prototype stuff. So yeah, I think it increases productivity and what you can output tenfold probably.
Yeah, Zcat, great question. I've had really, really excellent luck in planning mode with V2. Describe the key search terms you want to rank for and ask for a full SEO audit and plan. And it's really good in terms of getting all your meta tags, your image tags, your button labels, your page titles, and working critical keywords into your copy. I mean, no matter how you skin it, it's pretty great. And then also, it's really good to get Google Search Console set up if you're going to be optimizing for SEO. So I'd go do that, and then it'll run like a speed performance analysis. You can just feed that performance analysis back into Bolt. It'll make sure any performance issues get optimized out. So I've had incredible luck doing SEO work with Bolt V2. Okay, I think we probably, okay, well, we got to show this comment from Dean. This literally does what developers would charge thousands for and would charge multiple thousands for. 100%. Really incredible. Super, super exciting to be here with, oh, hey. That's funny. I just saw William's comment in the chat. Awesome. I think that's probably a great place to leave it for now. Very excited to have another one of these soon, though, because there's a bunch more questions I wish we had time for. So we'll run it back soon. We'll keep these going. Great to hear all the feedback. Thank you to Jakob for joining. Where can folks find you, Jakob, if they want to follow along with what you were working on?
Yeah, definitely on Twitter, or X, I should say. So if they want to follow, I think that's the place to go.
I just shared in the chat. And yeah, like Alex said, we probably could have spent a couple more hours on this just based on the chat alone. So we will definitely try to run this back. Be sure to join our Discord. There's over 80,000 people in there. And we also have a channel called Live Streams where we share all of these live streams. So you won't miss them if you join Discord. Again, this will be recorded and added to our YouTube channel. So check it out there as well. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you next time.